Hey everybody, welcome to the Portsmouth Basketball Podcast. This is part 2 of an interview series. If you haven't heard part 1 yet, go back and check it out. But for those of you who are here at the right time, thank you so much for listening. Let's get into it. For someone who would be, say, unfamiliar with the difference in under 10, under 12, under 14, under 16, under 18, could you summarise the difference in stepping up between each of those?
So at National League, there's different rules that they play in the different leagues. At under 10s and 12s and under 14s, I think in the conference level, there's rules around how you play the kids. Okay. So you're not allowed to go, right, this is my best 5 and I'm just going to play them non-stop. You know, have a team of 5 or 6, 7 players and just bring in my best guy. So if you're not good enough, you don't see the court. I think at under 12 level, or under 10 even, under 10 local league, you need to have 10 to 12 players on that squad. Because the idea being is the first 5 play for 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes through the quarter, the ref stops the game, all 5 players come off, and the new 5 come on. And so everybody gets to play the same amount of time.
Wow.
And on this point, it's actually a fantastic rule because it creates... what was it? I had the word in my head. There's this strategy comes into it.
Massively.
Do you play your best 5?
Great. I love that.
Or do you not?
I love that.
And then you got to think about it.
You have to mix it up.
If you have got 2 5s and you go, right, the best 5 is going to start, second 5 is going to end every quarter. When you get to that 4th quarter, that means you're probably closing out the game with your worst 5 players. So
it's a great rule.
For me,
and you can't interchange.
No.
Oh, this is great.
So for me,
strategy.
That's literally like F1 tyre changing. Yeah. Sort of which tyres you're going for.
And I've seen a few games where a coach has played his best 5 against Portsmouth. They're up by 20, and then the second part of the quarter happens, and then Portsmouth start coming back.
Yeah, we did it last season. Against the team that we
maybe that was the one I watched.
Yeah, they played their best 5. We put out a 5, and we still had 2 or 3 of our players who probably would have been in our best 5. But I never, because we had this rule in, I never went, right, you're my best 5 starting the match. Because I knew that actually when we went to the bench, I didn't want to bring on 5 guys who were then going to get overwhelmed. So I wanted some experience on the court all the time, some guys who have been there, played maybe the season before. So it's easier for me to go, actually, do you know what, I'm going to put you 2 have got more experience. I'm actually going to put you on the bench because I want you on for that second unit. And I think what they did is they went, well, there's our best 5. And then when they took their best 5 off and put their second best 5 on, they had to go up against a couple of our better players, and it got us back in the game, and it was quite successful.
So does that frame how you do training as well with them?
For under 14s, yeah. For me, I was never training, right, I'm going to put you 5 together. I was always mixing up the guys. I'd never go, right, I want you 5 to be playing together every week.
Yeah.
I'd be, okay, well, this week, positionally, we always knew, like, the 2 biggest guys on the team, they were always on opposite teams and they were never on a team together. However, when the season came around, there were times I did have to play them together because you looked at the other team and you go, actually, you know, we've got an advantage here. So in that 2nd and 4th quarter, under 14s, it was only the 1st and the 3rd that you had to do 5 on and 5 off. The 2nd and the 4th, you could do whatever you wanted. So I was like, right, okay. You used to have them play 5 minutes each in the 1st quarter, and the 2nd quarter, I'd have them play a bit more together. Or I'd have them play together. You know, maybe start them both on the bench and bring them both on a couple of minutes into it and try and see how we go, depending on how the game's going.
That's really impressive, the strategy level. I genuinely didn't realise that level. Not as in the level of coaching, how much more as in how much entertaining it would be for being a coach in that, because the level of strategy there is...
So I know some coaches didn't like it.
Really?
We'd go, I think it was called the Passerelle rule that they called it, and some coaches go, oh, do we have to do this rule? And it's like, it is the rule. It's in the Basketball England rule book.
It stops coaches from playing
their best
guys. I'm going to play
time.
best 5 the whole game.
Yeah.
Or the best 2 players the whole game. You know what? I remember a tournament that I was coaching an under 12 team at, and it was their first time they were playing. So it was just like, get more court time and just have fun, guys.
It's all about.
And there was one team that we were pretty even, and we thought this is going to be a good game. And I said to the coach, should we do that rule the whole game? should we just sub our 5 players so we haven't got best 5 the whole thing? And he went, yeah, sure. So we had a gentleman's agreement, and we did it. And literally, it just made the game so much more exciting for the kids. I think going back however many years it was, I think 4 years, the score was like 36-36 with 30 seconds left.
Can you imagine if you did that with the men's team?
Maybe fighting to get on the
court. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
So at what point does it stop then? Does that rule go away?
Under 16s.
So what, at under 16s, you still have to do it, or
no,
you don't?
Under 16s, you don't have to do it at all.
Oh, so from under 16s onwards, it's like do what you want.
Yeah, but you can put your best 5 out together, and then you could play 6-7 guys. You probably 5 guys if you really wanted to, if they stayed out of foul trouble. However, 15, 16-year-olds, it's a bit hard to get them not to go for blocks all the time.
I'd imagine
jumping for steals, they're going to get fouls.
That was the step up physicality-wise for the game, under 14s to under 16s.
And also, you got to think a basketball game at under 16 level, they're quick. They're running up and down the court, they're jumping really high these days, and they're really working their socks off.
Oh yeah, I mean,
if you try and get if you got a 16-year-old who can play flat out for 40 minutes, then that's amazing. They are going to be knackered. They are going to go, you know what, I need a breather, sort of thing. And that's what the whole that I love about basketball, that you can go, actually, you know what, come off, you're going to jump on. Sit on the bench, chill out for 5 minutes, get your energy back, have some water, and then 5-10 minutes later on, depending when the game is, how the game's going, right, you can go back on now and play, because it helps. It helps. They need that.
Well, that perfect example is Zion Lawson, where I think he was under 14s, but he was playing under 16s. And then when he should have been under 16s, he was playing for the men's last year.
Yeah.
So if they're good enough, I mean, that's, when your body is, potentially your body's developing to the point where you're playing with men.
Was supposed to be on the under 18 team last season as well. So he would have got more development playing under 18s, because that would have been a better one for his age. Because even though he's kind of training with the men and getting some minutes at the men's game, if he was playing under 18 basketball, he would have been one of the guys last season who's probably relied on for 3/4 of a game.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have seen that much time on the bench because he was that good.
Yeah.
And the good players, you do have to play a little bit longer, as long as they stay out of foul trouble, injury free, all that kind of stuff that they need to learn to manage their bodies and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, so just on the National League side of things now, so this year you're taking on the under 18s as head coach. Last year you were running the under 14s as head coach, and you came 3rd in the league.
Yep.
Which, personally, I think that's an amazing achievement.
Yeah, we did well. Yeah.
Again, this is National League we're talking about. And then the year before that, you were under 14.
That's right.
National League, but you were assistant coach.
Yes.
And where my question comes in, you had the current men's head coach for Portsmouth Force, Daniel Fatimade, was head coach.
That's right.
What was that like, sitting next to him, working out what his methodology is, what his strategies are? Did you benefit from that?
Massively. I'd never coached at National League level, so it's that step up. I've done local leagues, and I know about the whole 5-on, 5-off rules and all the kind of little rules at local league level done before. Whereas National League is that step up, and it's a big step. So you're like, right, okay, we've got a major step here that we need to make sure we're ready for. Daniel come in with all the experience he'd had from coaching the uni, and even before that he'd played quite a high level himself at youth basketball. I believe he played for England at some point, for an England youth player. So had all that experience that was great and needed. And it was good to learn from him, to saw how he conducted training sessions, some of the drills and stuff that he uses. I still use some of them today. Like for example, when we're learning a drill, get the ball, run down one end, play that drill, do that 5-out offense or 4-in-1-out offense, whatever offense you're doing, go and play it down that end against nobody, make 10 passes, score a basket, and then turn around, you're coming back this end and there's a defense there. And you're doing what you just did then, but now you're doing it against defense. And afterwards, the defense get the ball, they go and play against nobody and come back. And that kind of thing, it was kind of, they were embedding the play because they were doing it against no one. And then when they were coming back doing it against defense, they were getting that used to doing it against both. And it kind of, you could see that it really worked, because, we had a couple of plays that we ran last season that we started off from the year before, when we started running a play, and then we learnt it, got good at it, and then one of the teams that we played, because we only had one play at the time, they scouted it, so they knew what we were going to do, and they jumped on a couple of passes and were like, right, okay. So I had to call a timeout.
They scouted a play?
Only because we'd run it so much in the first half.
Oh, sorry, that's just during the game.
Yeah, so we'd run it so much in the first half, and we were keeping up with them that their coach said, right, okay, he's going to run down, he's going to say this, and he's going to pass the ball to his left or his right. So the guards marking those guys on left and right were just jumping in the passing lanes and stealing it, run around. So I had to call a timeout and say, right, okay, call it, fake the pass, and then go the other way. You know, all those little tactical things you do. But when we played them the next time, it's like, right, okay, we're not going to run that. We changed it and did something different. Did like a simple baseline cut play. And it worked because, you know, their coach put in hands like, all they're doing is cutting down the baseline. And we were doing it, but it was working because we had a couple of big guys we were cutting on the baseline, and they'd either score or the defence would collapse in on them, bang, out to an open shooter who'd hit a jump shot.
Giving away the secret sauce here, Tom.
You've just got to. But the fact that they were doing it every week at training and we were drilling it into them, that they knew what they were doing, that when it come to a game and they call it, everyone knew what they were doing. And that's what I think the tactical side of basketball is. You need to make sure that they know what they're doing, but they also need to know it really well. And that really helps, rather than just turning up and saying, right, yeah, you guys play, because they don't understand where each other should be, all that kind of stuff. And it made it easier for everybody.
Well, fair play to that other coach as well for picking up the fact that you were running a play consistently and figuring out, well, that's what it is. Because, like you say, some people are like, on you get, you know the stuff, and
exactly.
Let them free will.
Our thing's always been fast. If it's there, take the fast break every time. If it's not there, we slow it down, we run something. We don't just go headless chicken. Jason Colgan used to use that term. Don't go headless chicken and just run around all over the place.
Don't go headless chicken.
True. You should never do it.
Tom, just going back before that, then, what was the impact for you as a coach? Because you were a coach when COVID happened. Because we went from, right, we're going National League, we're all ready to roll, to stay in your house or you're going to die.
It was so tough. And it really was tough, because at the time I was coaching, we had a local league that we were playing in, and we'd won every game. So the boys were all really up for it, and they were already buoyed, and then all of a sudden it's cancelled. Okay, fair enough. And this was kind of February-ish time. And then communicating with the guy who was running the league at the time, saying, okay, well, hopefully COVID will stop and we can get back to games. But by the time it actually did stop and we could get back to proper organised basketball, we were that far away, it wasn't worth it.
Were there any games that were played in the league, or did the whole season just get cancelled?
Just stopped, because the next season that we could actually play was next season. So it was kind of like, wow, we've just got to kind of call it to a halt there, which is, it made sense and it's fair enough. And then we went National League, or I think we were all training, getting ready for the National League, and seeing how that goes. And that was really good. It's an eye-opener to see the guys who played on that under-12 team step up and have to get ready to play under-14s National League, because a lot of them their age groups have gone up, and, you know, so on. But yeah, and we had that. I think there was an National League season was cancelled. I think we had the under-12 locally. Then COVID happened, and we were supposed to have a game. We were supposed to have a league, but that league stopped and didn't happen. I think that was the one that you and Craig were going to coach us.
Yeah, we were doing
the 16s, was it?
It was under 16s or under 18s.
Yeah, and I think that kind of didn't happen, because I think I was trying to sort out a local league for the 12s to play in that year, and then because COVID didn't happen, it's right, okay. And then the following year, when it all right, okay, we can start again properly, and it looks like it's going back. That's when Daniel had come into the fold, following his time at the university, wanted to get involved and help us out, and it's been great ever since. And, you know,
I do remember. I think it was under 18s I was coaching, and me and Craig had this play, a really old school Mickey Byrne play that we'd instilled into the team, this one play, but there were like this one play, there's probably about 8 variations that may or may not happen depending on what the defense did, and these guys were running it like so quick, absolutely perfect. And I remember me and Craig were sitting there, like, you know, watching them just run through the drill, and we would try and get them to play it against people who didn't know what they were doing, and they were killing them, absolutely killing them this with one play. And we were looking at each other going, we're going to have an effect on the league this year. And then bam, COVID happens. And
it's horrible.
That was the one thing that frustrated me. We never saw them use that play, because then the season happened, and where did they go? I think some of them started going off to Itchin. So it must have been the under-18s.
Yeah, I think it was the under-16s. I think it was under-16 because after that you had the 4 or 5 who were still under-16s the next year, and then you had the guys who were too old who went to Itchin and stuff like that and moved on, and we didn't have an under-18s. But yeah, it's tough. It's really tough when you've got that kind of level there. It's what do you do? You know, that COVID did mess things up, but thankfully it's all bounced back, and I think we all appreciate now that there isn't a pandemic, and you know, we can go on. But the biggest side for me that the club has grown over the past 4 or 5 years is the number of coaches who've gotten involved, and we couldn't do it without everybody there, because it is brilliant. You know, when you see all the guys who do the fun and fundamentals on a Sunday morning and the Saturday morning sessions as well now, it's great. And we got some of our junior guys, some of our junior players actually go and help out coaching the really young ones on a Sunday.
Yeah, really good job.
And it's brilliant. And then local league, we've got 10s, 12s, 14s, 16s local league teams this year. Well, that's like 5 or 6 coaches who are doing that. New coaches who, you know, coming in to coach at that level. And then, you know, we've got 12s, 14s, 16s, 18s national league guys who have got at least one coach in all those age groups. And there's a couple that we got 2 coaches, you know, and doing that as well. And they're all picking up and spending their time and energy coaching. And it's just, we couldn't be as big as we are without the coaches that we've got at the club. And I think that's a great thing. You know, you hear of other clubs who are trying to, oh yeah, we got 5 teams in the National League and we've only got 1 coach, and their fixtures are having to sort out because they're trying to play back to back with different teams so they can take their 12s and their 14s and their 16s up. It makes it so much easier where we've got so many guys involved that we can say, right, we know that John and Jeff, for example, from the under-16s, they got under-16s under control.
Well, they can just focus on it.
That's all they need to worry about, and they got a team manager there who helps them out. That's all they need to do. You know, that's their thing. We're not worried about them doing anything else. They've just got those guys to run and to work with, and it brings that coach closer with the players as well.
I think I don't know if the word is success. I think maybe the success of going National League and having the men's team has, you know, just infueled, you know, that momentum for people to say, I want to be part of it.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. I said it earlier on, I love going down Raveling Park on a Saturday watching the men's team. It's just brilliant.
I want to come back to the men's team 2 seconds, but just on that note, what you're talking about with the coaches, and I know Mark's brought this up before about all the, you know, the staff in the background, you know, all the time that people put into it. Let's just want to, like, time.
Yeah.
That is, you know, my question is like, what's that like on you as a coach? Because you're just doing one team, so you're doing under-18s National League.
Yeah.
But how does that affect your life?
It's a lot, because you do get really into it with the players. You do get really into it with the league. You're checking the Basketball England website at weekends 10, 12, 15 times because, has everyone updated their scores yet? You know, I know that this team was playing this team away. I want to know what that score was. I want to know how they got on because we played them last week and, you know, we had a close game with them. So if they really beat that team, then we got a good chance against them. Or if that team beat them, oh God, that's going to be a tougher game. All that kind of stuff that you do when you look at league tables, especially early on. And towards the end of the season, you do look, oh, actually, those top 2 teams are playing each other with this week. That's a really big game. And if we're in that mix to win the title, that could really affect how we finish. So you got that thing. You've got 2 training sessions a week you go to and you're coaching at, and at the moment it's a killer for me. My session is Monday 8 till 10 p.m. at Highbury, and by 10 o'clock I'm shattered, you know. But I've got a bunch of lads who are 15, 16,
full-time job as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, full-time job. Come home at sort of 4 or 5 o'clock, everything's sorted. Then I'm back out ready to coach at 8 and coach a 2-hour session, you know. And then next day.
Is it sustainable?
It's good when there's 2 or 3 of you on there. Luckily, I've got someone assisting me this season, which is really good. So he's from the university, a guy called Bao. Really great skills coach. You know, he knows what he's talking about, skills, and it's really good to be able to turn around to these guys and because they see him and he's a young guy like them, and they've probably played against him at Orchard Park and things like that, they really respect and they see his skills. So if they see him doing it, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, he knows what he's talking about when he tells me about this dribble move, or, you know, straighten up my jump shot. You know, he knows what he's talking about, and you can see that effect on the individual level. So I love that, because I'm probably more of a team strategy guy sort of thing. So it's kind of like, right.
I think they call that an X's and O's guy.
Yeah, kind of. So we can look upon, right, you do that side, the skills, I'll do the strategy and the team play, you know, so you do your bit for half an hour, 3/4 an hour. Right, now we're going to run this play, we're going to drill this into the ground and, you know, get ourselves up and running, and then play some games at the end of practice. But at the moment, we're training on a Monday. We do have a session on a Saturday. My problem is with under 18s, of course, once they get to 16, they leave school. A lot of them get part-time jobs and working on Saturdays and all this sort of stuff. So my Saturday numbers have been dwindling, you know, for people who actually turn up to sessions, which is disappointing, but I completely understand it, because, you know, they need to have that freedom and earn their money and things like that.
Yeah.
But then hopefully come September, we're going to have 2 evening sessions a week. So there's that, and then there's worrying about who you're going to pick for the game at the weekend. And then when it comes around to game day, how are they going to play? You've got to potentially drive to an away game, which could be an hour and a half, 2 hours away. You know, play the game, which takes it out of you as a coach. Even though I'm not doing anything, I'm shattered after the game, because you're up yelling at the sides, you're really getting into it. It just drains you. And then obviously on the way home, you're all thinking about, God, what could I have done better? You know, I always...
Oh, that's the worst thing, isn't it? You're thinking, what if I called a timeout there, or what if I didn't shoot that shot?
Yeah. What if I put another player on in that instance? What if I decided to actually, instead of pulling him off early because he was in foul trouble, perhaps if I leave him on, that might cause some problems. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. You go through all these things in your head about it, and it does give you sleepless nights. And then the following week, you're like, right, okay, we're back at it again. And you go to training, right, what didn't work, what worked at the weekend, what didn't work, we work on that, we progress further, and it's just kind of, it builds throughout the season.
Yeah, I usually used to say to the kids, we either going to win a game or we're going to learn something.
Yeah,
and
it's great.
You know, that was the way I always try to put it across. You know what? I mean, you're like this. When me and Craig were coaching together, you know what? I generally think Craig is an absolutely fantastic coach, and I hope he, you know, progresses National League, because I think it's just going to benefit Portsmouth. But we did this, I think, 2 years straight, and the kids didn't know what was coming. But a bit like what you said, you've got the young guy, and because he's running up and down with them, there's a little bit more respect there. And so these kids don't know who me and Craig are. So we were like, first practice, we're lacing up and we are going as hard as we can on these kids in a game. So we'd be doing a normal training session, ends up in a game. Me and Craig are on the same team. You know, they come in, Craig's like, boom, swatting it all out. I'm getting the ball, driving in, going out hard. But we did it because it instilled more respect, because they were like, oh God, these guys are 40 and they can play against us. And it was like, you know, so it was just something we did 2 years in a row, and we thought it was quite a good little tactic just to...
It is a great tactic, because they do need to know that you know what you're talking about. And, you know, that's the big thing. If you can get their buy-in, and that's what you got to hope, that you get buy-in on there, that we can push ourselves forward with it.
Well, that brings us to the Portsmouth Force.
Hey.
Talk to us about that briefly.
Portsmouth Force?
Yeah.
What, the men's team?
Yeah.
Yeah. As I say, said loads of times, I love going down there Saturday night and watching those guys. To me, it's really important, and it gives the kids at the club something to aim for. You know, we've already got a couple of our under 18 boys who trialled for the men's team this season as well as the under 18s, and they started going along and training once a week with the men as well as training with us.
Wow.
So they're getting that experience at playing with the best men in the city at Portsmouth Force, the best team in the city. And, you know, I don't know whether Dan's planning on playing them at all for the season. I don't think he is. I think his idea is they get the game time with us, but they get to come to train once a week or however often with the men and see how it's done. I know the plan, which is changing with regard to court training sessions, is that the under 18s are going to train before the men, So if people want to stay and watch the men's session afterwards, they can. So we can have that idea of this is what the men's team are doing, and they kind of can build from that. I think it's just great to have that set up in Portsmouth, because in years to come, hopefully, we'll get some lads who started at the fun and fundamental session 5 or 6 years ago end up on the men's team.
We're introducing them as starting 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I think is really good? And who was it who told me? It might have been Rob told me this, because we had like a club barbecue on Sunday just gone. And Rob was talking about before the men's game, they're going to do an under 18s game.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool, brilliant. I'll bring all the stuff and I'll do what I do for the men's, for the under 18s team.
Yeah.
Because it'll be great, wouldn't it?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, they'd love it. And I think something like 3 or 4 times that's going to happen. We haven't had the full fixtures because they're trying to sort it out, because so many teams we've got playing. And we haven't spoke about the girls. The girls have got an under 14 team this season in the National League as well.
Brilliant.
So, they're there as well, and they're in the mix of,
National League.
Yeah, National
great.
Under 14s, yeah.
Because that's always the one thing with Portsmouth where, we've talked about it before. It's I don't want to say negative. It's the gap we have to fill.
Yeah,
it's getting that women's National League.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we want, both. Why not? Why not? Other clubs have men's team and a women's team in the top levels, and and throughout the youth sports as well. So we're hoping that kind of has the same effect that it had with the boys. We started off with one team, and then it grew because people, actually Portsmouth got a National League team, so we want, and then actually we've got enough lads here to have 2 or 3 teams, and now 5 teams and local league teams and all the rest of it. And hopefully we go the similar way with the girls, because there's a couple of girls who used to come onto our girls session. One of them, Anna, she's playing on the England under 16s team at the moment.
Blimey.
Yeah, because to get to play local or to play at a good level, she had to go to Southampton, play with the Kestrels.
Yeah,
and it was the right thing for her to do, because we couldn't offer her the standard of basketball that they could at the time for girls. And that's the bit where I think we're doing really well, is we're now getting there to actually, you don't need to go to Southampton to train.
So what, she's playing Portsmouth under 14s this year?
No. I think she's still under 16s, and she's still from the Kestrels, and she's been playing great. Doing really well, but she started off at Portsmouth in these sessions, at the girls' session on a Tuesday night.
Players are around.
Players are around, and that's the kind of
Faye.
That's kind of the half thing that actually, if we had it sooner, would Faye have done all this for us and playing for Portsmouth? Would she have been the same player? Obviously, she would argue probably wouldn't, because the coaching that she got under Vicky, Itchin and so on. But you don't know, do you? We'd hope that we could build something.
It'd be nice to have something in place, so when she's at the latter part of her career, she could get that tick of, right, I've played for Portsmouth National League, if she wanted to.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I imagine how...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But you never know. She might end up in the States.
Well, who knows? I mean, what a trajectory already.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
Nothing but respect.
We've talked with the Force actually about the amount of people in attendance and how much the crowd becomes the sixth man and really gets behind us. How does that work in youth basketball? And
yeah, it's great when you've got, it's generally parents who come and watch, but I think the older you get, the more interested your mates become at coming to watch you play. So sometimes under 12s, it's generally parents who are there to watch their little kids playing, and grands and granddads and aunties and uncles coming on to watch the game, which is brilliant. When you get older, you've got the lads from the school or the lads from college, oh yeah, come along and watch, we got this game, and they get a bit more behind the team. I know they've started, I don't know how I feel about it at youth level, especially the younger age group, with the old stamping your feet to put the guys off free throws and stuff like that. I think it's fine at 16 and 18s. I think when you're doing it at under 10s, it's under 10s, under 12s, just you don't need to put the youth guys off that much.
I'll tell you what, reffing that is a challenge.
Yeah.
Because I think it was under 14 and then under 16 level. There's no rule to say you can't do it.
Yeah.
So I've got parents looking at me going, ref, why? And I was like, well, you can do it. Like, why don't you do it against them? And they were like, oh, okay. And then actually got louder and louder, so it actually turned quite nice. But it's a tough one, that.
Yeah, it is. It's really tough. It's really tough, and I get it for home court advantage. I don't like doing it on the road because it's a case of, actually, I'm a parent watching Harry play under 16s a couple of years ago, and like, do I do it or do I not do it? You know, and it's, you kind of
do it.
When James was playing under 12s National League, I was doing it. Under 12s, I was doing it. Like,
yes, we all know your reputation. So
it's like, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's you can't wrap people up in cotton wool their whole lives.
No, true.
I think the interesting thing there is that basketball, not say fundamentally, was always an American sport. But growing up, we could all see it. It was an American sport. There was an aspirational level based on it being an American sport as well. And if you saw films, they had the high schools, and you know that was their infrastructure. It was, you know, you had the high school that feeds to the college that then goes to NBA.
Yeah.
But that was, you'd see on a film, and it was, you know, I'm not going to say like a Teen Wolf thing for a perfect example, just some cheesy film. You still have all these people and your friends and stuff, if they're under 16, even under 18, they're all there, and they're getting used to that. Bringing that to the Force this year, what we noticed, certainly with the last sort of 4 or 5 games towards the end, was more and more getting audience participation affected the gameplay.
Definitely. And I think...
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
I think we kind of need
The announcer was dodgy, but...
I think that the crowd kind of needs to learn a little bit more about how to be a basketball crowd.
I wonder how many people have been to an actual NBA game and understood it. I mean, we did a separate one just about atmosphere at an NBA game, because until you've been to a real one, the
London game doesn't count either.
The game is here, but there's everything going on around, and it's a whole experience. It's not just there's a basketball game.
Yeah,
you're there to watch it, but there's everything going on around. Whereas even in the rugby games or anything like that, it's not quite the same.
No, it's not. No. I think it's. I think what you guys are doing with the whole, music and all that sort of stuff. I love it, and it was brilliant seeing the progression from the first game of the season. And then, I think it was 3 or 4 games in, it was like, oh god, it's gone dark. You discovered the light switch to turn the lights up and down.
Secret. It's like, don't tell anyone.
It was brilliant. And then the entry music.
Were you the one who screamed?
Pardon?
Someone screams. It must have been you.
The lights gone out.
Yeah, I think from the start it was like I'd probably say a technology challenge. Yeah, is what we had. It's just trying to get the right technology in there, and how we're going to do that. And then it evolved into that stats program, which evolved into the in-game sounds. And then when we saw the impact, I can't remember what the first one we did what it was, but we saw an instant impact from the crowd, and we were like, next home game I'm going to have 20 of these.
Yeah.
And we started playing it really quietly, and I remember one of the referees just turning around and went, can you turn that up during the game? I was like, all right, and just turned it up, and then that was it, we were off.
Yeah.
And I think
we had to get them, like you said, educate them.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was about saying there isn't a rule against it, because that's what you were fighting with BB, wasn't it? It's very much, what's the rule about this? Because the rest were like, are you allowed to have all this going on at this level?
Well, when I went through all the documentation of BE, there's nothing that says you can't do it. But I was trying to say, am I allowed to do this? Because I remember doing it, and one ref said, no, you can't do this. This is an unfair advantage. I'm like, what are we talking about? You've got 350 people here. What are you talking about, an unfair advantage? And he goes, and I remember him saying, I'll get the rule book out and find it for you. And I was like, yeah, definitely do it. And he went through it, and he went, I can't find it. It's not in there. I spent a day, literally a day going through it.
You would need at least a day to go through that rule book with all the little...
Oh, there's so many.
So much stuff going on with it. Yeah.
But I think it's gone where it is. But Mark, I have forgotten something. It's just popped in my mind. We talked about this. So as soon as I bring this subject up, you'll know exactly where I'm going with this. We could be sitting next to the biggest Portsmouth Force fan. For those who are unaware of this, Mr. Tom Milner has taken Portsmouth Force to a level that no other person in the world has taken it.
Sacred ground.
He has got a tattoo, and it's not small, a massive tattoo of the Portsmouth Force logo on his arm. Have you seen this, Mark?
I have seen it.
Mark, let's shirt. Get it out.
Look at it.
Look at that.
Under the t-shirt tan.
Now your tattoo.
Portsmouth Force tattoo.
Look at it. There it
if you
is.
want to see this tattoo, there is a picture on the Facebook Portsmouth Force page, and you'll see a picture of Tom with the tattoo on display. That is dedication.
Well,
Did you knowingly get that, Tom?
yeah.
Knowingly.
Yeah, it come around from
Good
a long
for you.
time. I was, Paul knows, was involved in these conversations about naming the club for years, because I was almost like, right, come in on through Portsmouth and that's 1 2 3 Portsmouth. It didn't sound good, so you wanted something, a nickname. And when you hear of other clubs in the area, Kestrels, Winchester Royals, the Reading Rockets, Brighton Bears, they've all got that nickname, that surname that meant something to them, and we wanted something, and we've been talking for years and years and years, and we've never got one settled.
Pirates.
So, yeah, there was
Smugglers.
Yeah.
There's a few, wasn't there?
So we finally agreed on Portsmouth Force, and then Rob went off and managed to speak to some guy who designed logos and got it done. And I was playing golf with Rob, and he said, "What do you think of those logos?" I said, "Yeah, they're really good. They're really good." He said, "Jason, that'll make a wicked tattoo." And it come into my head. I was like,
Oh, I see what he did there.
And I thought, I've got no other tattoos. That's the only tattoo
The
I've
donkey sees the carrot. He's on
got.
it.
But I thought, if someone gets the first one, it needs to be someone who's been involved at the club for years. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. And
Tom, would you ever consider getting a larger tattoo of that on your or across your back?
across my back?
Let's
Probably not.
Let's do a
Probably-
GoFundMe.
Would you think would you ever change your name so it'd be Tom Portsmouth Force Milner?
No, definitely not. I'm not going to turn up in a waistcoat and big silly hat like Mr.
So
Westwood. Man of beer.
someone could overtake Tom with his tattoo.
Does
If they
Tom
change their
does
name.
Tom know that technically he's also representing the Fury almost?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Do you know this?
No, what's this?
I don't. Oh, I think it's in our first history of. So, when the Portsmouth Fury was established, it was originally called the MPG, New Power Crown Generation, and then after a year they changed it to the Portsmouth Force.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then they were only playing local league.
Yeah.
And then Alex Byrne created another team, and he went, "We're called the Portsmouth Force." So Mick obviously went to Andrew when you can't be Portsmouth Force anymore, so they spent ages looking for a name, and it turned into Portsmouth Fury.
Yeah.
So the Portsmouth Force was originally the Fury, and then it would have been Alex's team for like 5 years, local league.
Was that okay? Was it like kind of linked into the Navy or anything like that with the Force? Is that?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think they just like the name.
Yeah.
Just think they like the name. So yeah, when you all got talking and saying, right, it's the Portsmouth Force, in the back of my mind I was like, all right, that's the Fury name from 20 years ago.
Well,
But
all the conversations we had there about names, and we wanted something that was kind of
unique wasn't it?
to us, yeah, because we looked at other names. Oh, actually, there's an American football team called that in Portsmouth. Oh, this team's called that, and we wanted something that. I think the idea is when you Google Portsmouth Force, we're the first thing that comes up. That's kind of what we're thinking about, rather than it being on page 2 or 3 or even the 3rd or 4th item down the list. We want us to be the top name of it. So
Yeah, and
that's kind of
Portsmouth Force. I mean, you've obviously got like the naval force, forces, but I mean, we play a little bit on the Star Wars using the Force
Using the
reference
Force.
during the games. So yeah,
could have like Force of Nature as well. There's lots of different ways you could go with Force.
So Tom, we've
Yep.
all our guests so far have taken on the challenge of trying to score on our in-studio basket.
Right.
So I know you've had a few goes on this already.
Yeah. 1 out of 50, I think it was.
Live.
For those who
Live.
don't realise as well, when we say in studio basket, this is like, cribs, like at MJ or Shaq's house, where it's a full court scenario.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's about 20 foot away, isn't it? And only one person has scored,
Oh,
and
who am I up
that's
against?
Steve Ware. It's the
Okay.
only person who scored, and he actually originally we were giving people 2 shots, and he wanted a third shot. So the third shot is known as the Stevie Ware bonus shot. So
Going now?
yeah, go do it, and I'll introduce you. Here we go. Yeah, now Tom Milner. head coach for the under-18 National League team for the Portsmouth Force. He has gone straight to our line. He's 20 foot away. He doesn't look as serious as some of the other players. He's got a nice smile on his face.
Whoa!
What happened? Did that go in? Oh, that second one was an air ball. This is the Stevie Ware bonus shot. That was an air ball. Wow. Steve Ware remains the only person to score the in-studio basket.
Did you feel the pressure of that, Tom?
I did. Felt some pressure. I didn't want to be. Well, it sounds like I've got people joining me on the.
It's all fun and games. All fun and games. As soon as you get on the line, get serious.
Get serious.
Does get serious.
So, I mean, we're just going to wrap up, but I know Mark has 2 questions he likes to ask every person who comes on the show.
Do I? Yeah. So you got one shot, and it's. It was going to be always like the. But I was thinking about this. Do you know what? I was thinking about this, and Andy Rowland, his answer has really got me thinking about this. So that first question, I'd like to go with him and the way that he took the question. So the question was, if you could have one person to take that final shot, game 7, you're down by 2, or down by 1, game 7, so this is whether it's going to be a 2 or a 3, whatever it is. That was originally the question. But Andy took it as, if you could have one person to take one shot for your life, who would it be?
I think I said it's a shot for your life at some point.
And so he took it as, this is a shot for your life. And his answer, I'm not going to tell you, but it was brilliant. And I've been thinking about this, and I thought, actually, I almost prefer that more than just...
Oh, one shot for your life? Or the fate of the world?
Yeah, fate of the world, one shot for your life, whatever it is. Who's the person that he goes to?
And this is alive or dead?
Alive or dead at any time in their life?
Yep.
It's got to be Jordan, surely.
What
Had to be. He's already done it once. He's the Space Jam. You know what I mean? He took the shot to save the world, so I'm going with him again.
Best answer so far. Well played. I like that.
There's a consistent response to that question.
It is a consistent response. That's why I was trying to change it, but yeah, consistent response there. So the other one is all time. Now, we was starting 5, but you do get a 6th man.
Okay.
All time. Anyone, and this can be FIBA, BBL, Portsmouth Force players, chucking in NBA.
Ex-Portsmouth Smugglers players.
Yeah.
If you ever get on a list, just that is like a charity bone, isn't it?
In the NBA, I follow Phoenix. They're my team. Have been since 92. Well, I got into basketball in the 90s, where the dream team was the team. You know, that Summer Olympics was big, and I supported Phoenix because of Charles Barkley.
And also in the 90s, early 90s as well, if I remember, Phoenix, Charlotte, and I can't remember who else it was. They had those really cool T-shirts where, like when Charlotte, the Hornet was coming out the front and it was coming out the back as well. And Phoenix had the same one where the ball was coming out the front and at the back as well. There was another team, but I can't think who it was. But they promoted them quite heavily.
So because of that, he was mainly the reason I kind of got into basketball, and I kind of modelled myself a little bit on his game because he was a sort of undersized power forward, which is kind of where I played a little bit.
Wow.
So Charles Barkley, definitely.
Chuck?
I'm going to keep it with the Phoenix route. I've got to say Steve Nash is the ultimate point guard. You know, made more passes, and what I loved about his games, he didn't care about scoring. You know, he could, if he wanted to, take over a game and score 30, 40 points, but he was more interested in getting his team set up right and running a good offense. So those two...
He didn't do so well coaching Brooklyn, though. But.
No, he didn't. Yeah. There's teaching that pass-first mentality to Kyrie Irving was obviously a bit of a hard task for him.
Listen, I'm a Mavs fan, and I've stuck with Kyrie now, so let's not go on that danger road.
Yeah. Modern day, got to put Devin Booker in there. He's absolute hero. He's honestly, I get up in the season at sort of 5 o'clock in the morning when Phoenix have got a game on the night before to watch it before work, so I don't get it spoilt by seeing the result on the internet, so I can watch it almost live. So yeah, I watched that. As much as he broke my heart when he beat us in the 90s for the champion, I got to put Michael Jordan in there as well. and he beat the aliens in Space Jam, so we got to put that in. Oh God, the last two guys I've really enjoyed watching and going kind of a bit off that. Shaq was really good, dominant, massive, huge player. I think that 5 would be quite awesome. And then probably another
Who's
one.
warming the bench?
Who's on the pine? Who have you got to go up to and say, just take a seat for a minute?
Sixth guy. It's hard because I want to say somebody, but
Say it.
Do it.
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan.
Fundamentally sound player.
Yeah.
You know, he was just awesome. And I don't like it because, like MJ, he killed Phoenix many times in the 90s. You know, knocked us out of the playoffs and stuff like that because he was that good. But eventually, you got to respect those guys. And actually, yeah, he was that good, and that's why we couldn't get over the hump. And we probably should have had a championship if it wasn't going up against his teams.
Has he got 4 rings, didn't he? Is it 4 rings or 5?
No, I think he's got... Oh, I was going to say 5, but I know San Antonio won 5 within a...
I think it is 5, because he got one with David Robinson, and then he got a couple 3, and then he got one with Kawhi at the end, didn't he?
Yeah.
When they beat the Heat in the early 2010s.
Yeah, but one of them's got a star on it from the dodgy season, wasn't it? That was when they had the lockout.
Oh, what
and
was
the
it, like
season
50
started
games?
in
Yes, that's
December.
right. Yeah.
50 games, yeah. I mean, this is real specific for you, which is, I think we should do it to all our coaches. If this team, you need to now put a coach to it. As a coach, you got to pick your favourite coach.
Yeah, like that.
Oh, that is such a tough question. Because up to last season, it would have been Monty Williams because of the way he turned around Phoenix. But the last 2 playoffs where we've kind of gotten a bit embarrassed in the playoffs, you know, in two game 7s in a row where we've been destroyed, I don't think he's there. But
does that fall on him?
I think some of it did. I don't think he had his team fully prepared, you know. And
would you have done something different then?
There's lots of stuff going around with DeAndre Ayton and him falling out and him not wanting to trade him, or him wanting to trade him but the front office not, so he was made to play a player that he didn't want and didn't utilise him properly. So there's a lot of that sort of stuff going around which I kind of follow a bit on Twitter and things like that. So it's quite interesting to see, which is why this next season is going to be interesting, because he's now not got him coaching him, so theoretically he's not got what he's putting down his reasons for he played badly towards the end of last season. He hasn't got that there anymore. So
needs to find a new excuse this year.
He's got to put up or shut up. Oh, coach. Phil Jackson.
Big Phil.
Yeah.
The old Scotty!
Yeah. He executed that triangle offense with the Chicago Bulls to
how many?
perfection. Then
11?
Shaq and Kobe as well afterwards.
We got 6 with Jordan. I think he got 2 as a player.
Yeah, I think it was 2, wasn't it?
2 as a
He
player,
got
so it's 8.
3 with Lakers. Did they 3-peat? Kobe and Shaq. at the
Kobe
beginning?
had 4 altogether, but I don't
Kobe
know.
had 5
Yeah.
rings in the end.
Yeah, he got 5 because he got 3 with Shaq, didn't he? And then Shaq left.
Yeah.
And then he got a couple with Paul Gasol.
Yeah, because there's a thing that says with Shaq saying when Kobe got his 5 in his hand up, Shaq's like, I just tore my house up. I was so angry.
Yeah. He wanted it, didn't he?
Yeah, you wanted it. But would that be, I want to not say throw a curveball there, if you have that many elite players, realistically, can they play together? I mean...
Yeah, you need the right players, which is why you need to have the ones who are unselfish and ready to not try and do everything themselves. And that's the big problem with that sort of thing. It's that unselfishness, and you need the ones who are willing to make that play. And even if that play is make a good pass, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, so I've got the stat here, 13 rings.
Wow.
Phil Jackson's importance and impact on the game of basketball cannot be overstated. Not only is Phil Jackson one of the most influential figures in sports history, but he's also the most winningest NBA coach of all time, earning a remarkable 13 rings throughout his coaching and playing career. So I think it's 2 rings as a player with New York, I'd say, and then 6 with the Bulls and 5.
The Lakers.
There's your 13, 5 with the Lakers. Wow.
That was the last time New York were good, wasn't it?
So
I think so.
don't speak to Craig Hughes about that,
well, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
They'll come back one day, won't they?
They will.
Well, I think that wraps up the show. Tom, it's been a massive pleasure having you on.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Yeah. Well, if you haven't listened to any of our other episodes before, go back and listen to them and check out the site. Go look at Portsmouth Force. Go look at all the other feeder teams. And as always, come and contact us. Give us your questions. Give us your feedback. We've loved having you, Tom. And we're looking forward to some more guests coming up, Paul, soon.
100%. I don't want to say the guest names because sometimes if
they get sick or they rearrange or
it throws things off.
Who knows? But we've got some more people, so stay tuned and we look forward to seeing you next time. So whenever you are listening and wherever you are, thank you so much. Take care.